I just alluded to this off microphone before we started, but it feels really good to be in front of a microphone. We had to, we delayed recording this week by 3 days. Because of a COVID scare, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is the time, I don't like to bring it up a lot.
No.
We haven't dodged the fact that there's a pandemic because in many ways the pandemic has affected the movie industry. It's affected the world in which we podcast about.
Yeah.
But we've tried not to dwell on it. We've tried to be an escape from all of that crap.
For sure.
But yeah, it was, there was like some testing and some self-isolation that happened, and I didn't have access to my gear, and it was just, so we pushed it off. But it's weird. It's weird how much I think my muscle memory or like my weekly schedule,
right,
my podcastian rhythm, which is a little, for anyone who like knows the brain and circadian, anyways.
I like it.
It's come to like depend on this podcast because like Tuesdays is typically when we record, and Tuesday rolls around, and if Tuesday night I'm not sitting down and chatting with you about movies, I'm like, I'm lost. I don't know what to do.
We are creatures of habit. Like I have a routine. I get the same drink. I do it at the same time. And that night when I sat there, like I was just like, this is usually when I sip on this. This is usually when I chat about films. It's weird. It's weird. I think it's been weird for us, but for the listener, it shouldn't. It'll disrupt a little bit, but the main episode.
Yeah, you're going to get this episode on a Saturday.
Yeah, so that'll be a little adjusted. But the overall scheduling shouldn't be thrown off. So it's more weird for us, I would think.
Well,
for you and me,
ultimately, I think it'll work out fine for the listener, because you know what? You're going to get this today, and then tomorrow is our Snyder Cut. You get like 2 days. You get back-to-back podcast action.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt bad because I texted Pete and I was like, hey man, I can't do it tonight. We got to push it off. And he's like, oh yeah, that's fine. No worries. And then I think like 5 minutes later, he had some time to think about it. And he's like, man, now I literally have no excuse not to call my mom back. Thanks a lot, dude. And I was like, whoa.
It's still your fault.
It's still my fault. That's okay. You have a nice mom. You have a really nice mom.
You listen.
I knew your mom before I knew your mom was your mom.
I didn't
remember.
Like, I can't say the same thing for your mom, but what I can say is your mom is also nice. So we have that in common.
My mom,
that we have nice moms.
My mom is like, and she'll listen to that. My mom will listen to this, even though she's never seen Black Mirror. She has no idea. Cool. She's no idea what we're talking about. But my mom, she's one of those moms. Yep. That's like constantly, whatever my kids do, I'm going to consume it. Right. Fun fact, so, while we're in the business of praising mothers, my mom is one of my favorite qualities about my mom. Well, I've never just like talked about my mom very much on this show. This is episode 131, and I've never just like full on praised my mom. So something amazing about my mother, one of my favorite qualities about her is that she is completely content living vicariously through her children. And so a number of years ago now, like 6 years ago or something, I took like a 4 or 5 day trip to New York City. We were there for a conference, so we weren't doing touristy stuff the whole time, but there was still a bunch of time to do touristy stuff.
Yeah, but still.
And New York was kind of always on... it was kind of always on my mom's list. She'd love to go to New York, which, fun fact, when I was a little kid, little kids like mispronounce words.
Sure. Oh yeah.
When I was a kid, I would call it Unork.
Oh, nice.
I had like a dyslexic thing about it.
That's cool.
But so anyways, she always wanted to go to New York, and as soon as I went to New York and came home with a bunch of pictures, she was content. That was it.
That's
that was
cool.
good enough. The fact that one of her children got to go and experience that was
cool.
good enough for her.
Yeah.
Which is a rare quality.
Yeah.
Anyways, hello and welcome.
Welcome.
It's a bit of a long, convoluted intro.
Hey, that is what podcasts are about.
It's true. I think if you look up the Wikipedia page on podcasts, there's a section there about that. We're the Movie Men. My name's Brady.
Pete over here.
And we review movies most of the time. But today we're continuing a series that we have going about Black Mirror, which is they're kind of like short films. Each one is kind of like a mini movie, right?
Oh yeah, like it's.
I mean,
yeah.
So completely. That's how we've rationalized that. That's how we've That's how we've come to terms with the fact that we're doing a Black Mirror series.
Yeah.
Anyways, what is this? Season 2, episode 4? 3?
Episode 3 or 4. Unfortunately,
the Waldo moment.
The Waldo moment. Yeah, actually, I wrote down the same thing. I wrote down the title, but not the episode number. But
well, we both fail.
Time to redeem ourselves.
Yeah. So listen, I just want to say like one thing off the top, because it's literally the only like fully formed thought that I have about this episode.
All right.
And then once I say that,
Yeah.
The eggs are in your basket, sir.
Oh, sure.
This is the first episode since the first episode, since the national anthem episode. This is the first episode that feels 100% plausible.
Oh, sure.
Maybe unlikely.
Yep.
But totally plausible in the sense
Sure.
that it didn't really require any technology that we don't, or like all of these other ones have been like, okay, so we live in a world where everything's basically the same except for this fictitious advancement in technology. Whereas this one, like the technology going into Waldo, he's like such a low graphically rendered character.
Right.
It's so plausible.
Yeah.
Like it's that exists. We actually have the technology to do what it was done with Waldo, far more advanced than that. We could make it look far more realistic than that and render it in real time. That is technology that we have.
Right.
Maybe not with as mobile a setup as they were using.
Sure.
But it is it's entirely plausible. So anyways, it's to me that's a demerit. To me it's a demerit that this is an episode where it's like, okay, you're not getting me to suspend disbelief at all. You're not getting me to go, oh wow, what is this world all about?
Right.
It's just too grounded. I think with Black Mirror episodes, there's a fine line. I think that this episode and I think that the first episode are both too grounded. And I think the second episode, which was the 15 million merits, I thought that one wasn't grounded enough. That one was like, there was too much of a futuristic change. There was too much of a technology pill that the episode was trying to get me to swallow for me to really feel like I could connect to it or relate to it or reflect as a result of what they were showing me. I'm like, well, yeah, but it's too different of a world. Right? So that's to me that was this is the third episode that I feel like has missed the sweet spot.
Right.
And it's done so because it's too plausible given this current state of our world. So that's literally my takeaway. Now I'm handing you the reins, sir.
Sure. Well, the Waldo moment. Just at request at some listener feedback we've gotten, I will
Carl Eastman.
who shall remain nameless.
No whiny baby.
Listen, he's a fan. All fans deserve to give feedback, and that's okay. With this episode, obviously, just a quick kind of brush up on what happens if you've want to hear this episode but haven't watched the Black Mirror episode recently. There's this human individual whose job is to perform as this digital character, as kind of Brady alluded to, and it's like a realism of his body movements, and he voices the character. It's kind of like a 21st century equivalent to like being a puppeteer.
Allegedly a children's character.
Yeah, really?
Allegedly, yeah. In the beginning, it's the Waldo's show is a children's program, but it's like it's pretty vulgar shit for for kids.
Yeah. So when we're introduced to this character, he's mainly, I believe, on like talk shows where he kind of has political, satirical material where he'll interview politicians and just kind of farcically make jokes or kind of embarrass them. And then things kind of escalate when he just does more real time, like on the street harassing or kind of provoking of specifically one politician, but eventually other politicians. And then eventually it gets to the point where he is invited to political debates with candidates, and to the point where he actually, this character, that is not the human being, but the character gets like a voting ballot mark on in the election, and
he gets his own political platform.
He gets his own political platform,
his own campaign,
and there's some things that happen along the way as far as just the commentary on people being frustrated with the political system, and they'd rather vote for someone who vote for someone who doesn't really have any political agendas, but just is just kind of pointing and kind of highlighting problems with the political system, and they'd rather just vote for that and throw their vote on him than vote for someone who they view as skewed or view as just kind of the same old crusty politician who doesn't care about the individual. So I think, in a nutshell, we could go more into detail, but I think that's, am I missing anything for the summary? Like that's...
I don't think so. And actually, your summary, which I think is done exquisitely, has raised another point to my, as maybe aware of another point.
Yeah.
And that is that without singling out any world leader, it seems like there's this trend that's happening in regards to moving away from politicians and moving into political characters in the real world. One specific recent world leader, who again I'm not going to single out, but was certainly not your garden variety politician. Was more of a celebrity figure, was more of a social media presence, was more of a TV personality, who got to call the shots, almost treated the country like a game show, and they were the host. But it was like a totally off the rails game show where the host was the politician was almost Jerry Springer, who was kind of there just to steer the conversation, and then also if things were getting too boring, was there to poke a stick at something to further the plot.
Right.
But I do think that that's something, if you look at the world leaders, if you look at politicians from 20 years ago versus politicians that we have now, and I don't know if this is a result of social media, I don't know if this is a result of the internet, and everyone has always just been this crazy, but now it's easier to spread the crazy and give people more access to the crazy. But I think we're seeing the decline of the traditional politician, and we're seeing the rise of the political character, right? The person who we vote for, not necessarily because of their policy, but because we like them more, because we think their personality is more favorable. To hell with what they think about abortion or gay marriage or any other climate change, any other smattering of world issues. It's suddenly it's becoming not as much about that, whereas it's becoming, well, I agree with this person's policy, but I also think they're a dick. And so, because what we've seen too is how often, right? Like you and I have never discussed who we vote for in any campaign, any election that's happened since we've started this show.
No.
However, I can say, and for myself, and I know that a lot of other people have been put in positions where they do this, where they go, I'm not, it's not that I'm voting for this person. It's that I'm not voting for this other person.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's not that I'm voting, it's not that I want to vote this person in. It's that I don't want this other person to get in.
Right. Strategically
and I'm not happy with the choice
vote.
that I'm...
Yeah.
I'm not happy with the choice that I'm picking, but I'm less happy with the choice that I'm not picking.
It's like picking the lesser of two evils kind of thing.
Yeah, right? Or just in general, you're like, well, I'm not voting, I don't want to vote this person in, I just want to vote this person out. And that means voting for this person.
Sure.
Which again, and I think that that's not like, which could have you voting for someone whose policy you don't agree with. Because at that point, it's not about their policy. It's about, I hate the current person. I don't like the woman who's in there currently. I don't like the guy who already has the position. I think they're a dick. I think they're a horrible person. Doesn't matter if their policy is good. It doesn't matter if their policy is what's better for the state or the province or the country or the municipality or whatever it is. It's just for whatever my reasons are, whether it was the response they gave in an interview or how they conduct themselves in their personal life or whatever it is, I don't like this person. And so we vote based on personality and not based on politics. What say you, sir?
Yeah, I mean, you raised a really good point. I mean, there's definitely a lot of different mitigating factors that can influence how we vote. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see if kind of your original point, kind of where the future goes with who our politicians are, if they continue to be historically what they've been, or if there's this kind of blend of what we've seen a little bit, and if that changes going forward. And
well, like, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you, okay, say it's like, because in most elections, let's be honest, there's a bunch of different parties, but in most elections, it's down between the two people.
Yeah.
It's either going to be the person who's currently in or the new guy.
Yeah.
Right? Or if that person's run their maximum amount of terms that they can serve, then it will be two new people, one from the already in party and one from the competing party. But let's say that's not the case. Let's say there's a person who's currently up for re-election, and there's a person who's looking to dethrone them. Okay?
Right.
And let's say you personally, Pete, you are completely in favor of the policies of the person who is in office.
Mm-hmm.
And you think that those policies and those morals and the rules, the regulations, the whatever, those are what's best for the country. Let's say this is a national level thing, federal election. And that's great. And the person who's looking to dethrone them, you really, some of their policies, but whereas you love the policies of the person who's in, you really don't like a lot of the policies of the person who's trying to get in. However, the person who's trying to get in is like, universally agreed upon that this person is like, reads to children and is just like this incredible, good, wholesome human being.
Sure.
And the person who's in office right now, whose policies you love and agree with, are like, publicly fighting a cocaine addiction, and they're like, let's say it's like something really politically ugly and nasty, has had an affair, and they're splitting up with their, like, whatever, the huge sex scandals and whatever else. Would you be tempted to vote for the person whose policies you didn't agree with as much because you didn't think that the person who, whose morals are aligned in having an affair, even though you love their policies, you're like, but there's that whole like sleeping around thing, and that's not good. What would you be swayed or at least tempted to vote for the person whose policies you didn't agree with as much?
Right. There's so much to bite off and chew here with the question you've posed, because so part of me is saying, yeah, obviously you should. There's part of me as a human being that would want to vote for the more genuine, sincere human being. And then there's part of me that would say, let's be detached. Let's have column A be column A, column B be column B. Doesn't matter if Billy's into, a cocaine addiction and he's having just a wild kind of political disaster going on. As long as he's doing his job and leading his jurisdiction, whatever it is, provincial, state, city, whatever we're talking about here, as long as he or she is doing that properly, then maybe you should just look the other way and say they're dealing with their problems. As a human being, it's not me to vote them in because of their problems or not. I'm supposed to vote them in on based on their merit, and if they're doing their job, that's maybe all that matters from my perspective. I want to sidestep your question a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
But it's not really sidestepping it, because this whole convoluted example you gave me is reinforcing why I want to ask my question. So I think they point blank said this in the episode, so I don't think I'm really going on anything new. And if I am, it was hinted at, and then I'm just kind of pointing a question at it. But my question to you is, are politicians obsolete? Because,
right.
So in the example you're giving, like, at the end of the day, what a lot of crap. Like, I don't want to have to trudge through this. And how much of every political election or every political debate on who should we vote for, when you boil it down, it's a lot of garbage that doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, we want a system where people are represented, the interests of the people are represented, and someone leads to further and better whatever jurisdiction they're running. At the end of the day, if we're having to debate on, well, this guy's a meth addict, but he's doing his job, so maybe we should do it, or this guy's not doing his job, but at least he does some of these policies well. At the end of the day, are politicians obsolete? Because whether we're talking now, 100 years ago, or even like in Greece, where people were elected and represented and there was a republic, the point of politics is for one to represent the many, because it's just impractical for, I'm going to use Canada as an example, it's not practical to have 34 million people have an equal say in a democratic way. Like, that's just logistically impossible, or at least it has been. What this episode kind of put forward was maybe citizens should just have a vote on literally every decision, and that way it's literally taking the power out of the hands of the politicians, and it's literally the people deciding what matters on, or what is decided on every decision, like everything. We don't have to decide, well, this politician represents me out of 9 out of 10 things, so I guess I'll go with him, but the big thing, he's not in line with me, I guess I should maybe vote for this woman. You know, it just takes all that ambiguity and kind of concoction of just mess out of the political equation here. And we have the technology. Like, I'm being a little silly, but like, Facebook Vote It, have a secure online version to have people register and vote. We have people registering at home for COVID precautions to vote for various political things that now, like, it's not bending any laws of science. Like, we can easily do this. And the only caveat I'd say is, yes, there probably still would need to be some people in political power just for like cases of emergency, like COVID, or like whatever you want to give an example of, where in a state of emergency, you need to say, okay, we probably can't let people choose on this because it could be skewed and greater damage could be done. So, you know, whether it be closures, whether it could be action of tough decisions that need to be made. So maybe, they're kind of the equivalent of kind of like an on-call politician that only gets kind of limited but definitive power for short periods of time. And for the rest of the time, when everything's status quo, you, me, and Uncle Joe get our votes on political decisions. Like, maybe politicians aren't needed. What do you think about that? I'm kind of answering your question with the question, but I think your convoluted and accurate but convoluted portrayal of what our political system is right now kind of highlights my question of why do we do this? Like, do we need this system?
Right. I think so ultimately, no. I don't think they are obsolete.
Okay.
And the reason being, so like you said, there are emergency situations, and there's two examples that I'm going to use. One, real life, that you've kind of already alluded to, and then one that's a little more fictitious.
Sure.
So the first one being COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the requirement of people wearing masks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah.
anyone with a level head on their shoulders, I think at this point would argue that as irritating as masks are and can be, it's kind of one of those greater good scenarios.
Yeah.
However,
yeah.
A lot of the population, like, I don't know if you... Canada's one thing, but especially the States right now, from what we've seen in the States. I don't know that if you were to do a countrywide poll of the United States of America and said, should we make masks mandatory or not? I don't know that you would get 50% or more who said yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
In which case, people are stupid, and you can't, like as a rule in general, in panicky situations, people are in, or emergency situations, people are panicky and stupid and entitled, and you kind of just need someone who we have voted on, and the majority has agreed this person is level-headed enough to make these decisions.
Right.
Right. So I see voting a politician in kind of like, taking all of these micro votes that you're talking about and just kind of combining them into one vote.
Sure.
Saying, you know what, I don't need individual say over every matter, and I believe that this person is in line enough with the answers that I would give to those votes.
Mm-hmm.
The fictitious example is I've been watching the TV series 24 with a friend,
Oh, nice.
With a friend. I don't know why my voice cracked there. I've been watching it with a friend, and we're on the second season right now. And in the second season of 24, there is the episode, or the season is about a nuclear threat. So there's a nuclear bomb. Terrorists have a nuclear bomb somewhere in the city of Los Angeles that they're planning on detonating at some point during the day. And there are a lot of judgment calls in this season that the President of the United States needs to make. Whether it being granting presidential pardons to prisoners who may have information and are only going to cooperate if we pardon them for their crimes, or if it's deciding whether or not to, like, there are things, and I don't, again, like, I'm sure this happens in Canada too, but maybe happens more in the States, and maybe happens more in TV shows than it does in real life. I don't know. But like my understanding would be what these TV shows kind of present, and it's something that I don't have trouble buying into as a reality, is that stuff like terrorist threats, and maybe not always nuclear, but like stuff like terrorist threats or assassination threats or whatever. This shit happens in the dozens every single day. And so okay, so you haven't seen the first Men in Black movie.
No.
You haven't seen any Men in Black yet.
No.
But there's a great line, spoiler for Men in Black. There's this great line where in the first Men in Black movie, Will Smith, who's kind of the rookie, he's just kind of been recruited to this Men in Black agency, is talking to Tommy Lee Jones, who's the battle-hardened veteran of dealing with, of this government agency who deals with, who monitors and polices alien activity on the planet. That's this government branch's job. And there's this threat. There's a threat to wipe out and annihilate the planet. And Tommy Lee Jones seems surprisingly laid back and cavalier about it. And Will Smith is a little more like, holy shit, dude, like there's an alien threat.
Right.
And Tommy Lee Jones says there's always an alien threat or a this or a that or a whatever. There's always something like that happening. And the only way that the world the only way that the people of the United States or the people of the world continue on with their miserable little lives is that they do not know about it. And I would imagine that federal politics or the federal government is probably pretty similar. The United States probably faces threats and crisis situations on an almost daily basis, decisions that the president deals with or signs off on or are resolved covertly that never reach the press. And so one of the things that's happening in this season of 24 is, there's a nuclear threat, and they've decided not to say anything to the press because they want to avoid causing a panic. And so if you have this system where everybody votes on everything and it's like, okay, well, what do we do about this nuclear threat? You have to tell everyone, hey, there's a nuclear threat. And then nobody's voting because they're getting in their car and they're killing each other on the freeway in order to try to get out of the city.
Right. I mean,
Right?
So I agree with you, but I think my general thought was you do still have a politician in power, and sure, maybe you have a state of emergency act where maybe they only handle those things where, hey, they're not going to have a Facebook vote of should we give in to this terrorist act or not, and maybe they get increased powers when there's more broad states of emergency where they have to make kind of rapid successive decisions in a row. But I feel like
think that's a slippery slope.
I think it's
I think it's a slippery slope for two reasons. Because one,
before you say those reasons, I will agree with you,
who's
because it's easy for us to sit in this chair to say this is what it is. Like with any Black Mirror episode, when we kind of judge and make judgment calls on these people, but actually in practice it would be crazy slippery. But continue.
Well, so in this situation, one, who is it that's then deciding which vote? Like, so now you've got. Do we need to have votes to decide which votes are votes and which votes are? Like, do you know what I mean? Then you've still got
yeah.
someone who's calling shots with that. And two, my thoughts would be, listen, let's say Canada adopts this format.
Sure.
Where all of the really serious decisions, all of the big decisions are handled by the Prime Minister.
Sure.
And the mundane don't really matter, aren't going to be too disastrous if, either way kind of decisions are left up to the people. Well, I can tell you right now, for the most part, the only votes that I'm actually going to pull out my phone and log in and bother voting on are the ones that aren't being given to me as votes anyways.
Potentially,
because for the rest of it and the majority of it, I don't care. I don't care.
Right.
And so I think you're going to find that. You're going to find that a lot of people aren't voting so you've got these things that are going out and only 4% of the population are voting anyways. Mm-hmm. So what difference does it make? You're still not getting an accurate representation. And then the other issue you run into is that, again, not only are people panicky and stupid, but people are assholes. And people are racist. And people are
sadly this
sexist.
Is true. Yes,
and homophobic.
Unfortunately.
And every form of prejudice. So I don't want there to be I think there are some decisions that, so this is an issue in Canada right now. When it comes to, an issue that we have in Canada right now is trying to get fresh drinking water to our Indigenous population.
Right.
To our Aboriginals. And that should not be a vote. There should be no option for someone, there should be there's no scenario where someone who doesn't believe that there's a group of people in Canada who don't deserve fresh drinking water, there's no scenario where that person should be given a voice.
Oh, yeah.
And it just freaks me out because, again, people flock in these herds, and one racist person creates 5 racist people who create 30 racist people, and so on and so forth. And so what happens? What happens when you say, hey, we've got this decision that we're going to make, or we need to make, and it's going to cost us $40 million, but those $40 million are going to ensure fresh drinking water to the Indigenous communities for the next 50 years. And what happens, God forbid,
right,
that, because again, you're not getting everyone who votes.
Yeah.
Because in that situation, the people who think, well, obviously we should do it, aren't going to vote because they're going to think, well, obviously it's what's going to happen. The majority of the people who are going to vote are the people who hate the Indigenous and don't want them to happen. They're going to step up to stop something they don't want to happen, as opposed to encourage and ensure something that they do think should happen. And you will get votes where, because only 3% of the population voted, we're not going to do this thing that gives people fresh drinking water because only the racist assholes voted.
Yeah. Right?
And so, that's. Unfortunately, I think that there are a significant number of people in no matter which country you go to. There are a significant number of people, the majority of people, who are not and will never be politicians, will never be in a position where they are making decisions for a larger group of people, and that's probably a good thing. And so we just need to continue to vote for the people who we think are and there's always going to be compromise. You'll never find a politician who, you're like, oh God, it's like you were designed for me, because everything I believe, you also believe, and it's just perfect and everything's okay. But you need to vote for the person who you think, yes, this is the closest to how I would do things.
Right.
And again, they're not going to do everything the way that you would do it, but that's maybe also a good thing because you too are flawed. And maybe some of the decisions you would make are boneheaded decisions.
Right.
But yeah, we need smart, educated people who understand the way the system works, because that's the other thing too. I'm going to start voting on shit that I don't understand.
Right.
And I'm not going to take the time to understand the ramifications, the domino effect that happens if I make this decision. There are people who have done ridiculous amounts of schooling and research and have really, like, it's their job to, like, there are some governmental decisions, some national federal decisions where there is literally a person whose career, whose political career it is to deal with this decision and the outcomes of this decision, whether we go yay or nay, and then to see that decision through. So some decisions, most decisions, if not all decisions, are just too big for me to understand or take the time, because I'm not going to take the time. I'm going to vote. I'm going to go, yeah, 40 million seems like a lot of money. But I don't actually know. I don't understand the national debt. I don't understand how any of this shit works. And so no, I should not. The only vote that I should be given is to select the person who knows way more than I do and is way more qualified to deal with this than I am. I get a vote to try to pick who that person is. And then aside from that, it's in the hands of people who are far more capable to deal with these decisions than I am or ever will be.
Yeah. I mean, I think
which is a convoluted answer to your question, but no, I don't think they're obsolete. I do. I absolutely think we need politicians.
Yeah. I mean, you raised some points, and I think, I mean, at the end of the day, I think you're right. I think maybe there's some opportunity for technology to be used to open up the floodgates as far as some deciding, but maybe you're right. Maybe at the end of the day, those decisions would be the decisions that are just kind of puff pieces that either don't matter or just kind of will get skewed by opinion. And yeah, I guess like anything Black Mirror raises, it's complicated. And
well, and I also assume, like, you know, I get pissed off when my phone, like, there's too many friggin' notifications on my phone as it is.
Right.
How many decisions? Like, I think people underestimate.
Right.
Like, you say this, and I'm literally picturing 20 plus votes that daily.
Right.
If it's every single decision.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just so, like, nobody cares. No one's going to do. People say they care, but they don't care.
Right. Okay. But okay. So I think you need to take it back a step, because we're not going to say, hey, town residents of Ituna, we're going to have a vote on should we have this decision made for infrastructure reasons and make some nitty gritty, like, okay, should we have zoning of, I'm trying to think of like some convoluted, complicated, like detail specific example, and I can't.
So, but again, then who is making that decision?
Well, I think there would be certain things that you divvy out to the specializations that you say. So, like, okay, we have structural engineers make decisions, and we have military personnel make these decisions. But the things that are in the gray, like things that are in the gray areas where, hey, there's really no definitive right answer, where there's pros and cons to both. So it's not like saying, okay, should we reinvest in infrastructure, and everyone says no and the world goes to shit in 2 days or 2 years. It's more just like, okay, we've had our experts make informed decisions on these, and we've come to these two options, and we really can't, like, it's literally a risk benefit analysis where there's merits to both, there's drawbacks to both. How do we decide? Maybe those are the decisions that go to the people, and the ones that are clear cut, where a group of experts can make a decision, and it's clear cut that we should say yes, we should go forward with this. I'm not really arguing with you, because I think you're right. Like, who decides what is voted and who doesn't? Like, I think it's a fun concept to debate, but I think you're right. Like, I don't think
but I think
when boots are on the ground, I think it's impossible.
I think in a lot of ways those decisions already are going to the people. Now, it not necessarily in means of a vote that pops up on your phone, but public backlash and protests.
To a degree.
And so like if a decision is made that the majority of people aren't happy with, their voice gets heard. Like it's you know, if it's truly an issue that matters. And again, like, you know, I just think most of these issues don't, like, people get bent out of shape about something that doesn't affect you.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But what are your do you have anything else? Like, I'm happy to just
that's literally
we haven't really talked about the episode of but it's not a lot there. Like the show kind of proposes some of these questions, and we've unpacked these questions, which is typically what our Black Mirror episodes are anyways. It's sort of a divulgence from our typical format, and airs a little bit more on the side of
open-endedness,
just sort of just freestyle conversation.
Yeah. I like that you used the word freestyle, because I haven't heard that word used quite recently.
It's the only way I rap, sir. It's the only way. If I'm going to lay down a fat beat, it's there's no pre-planning.
That's all I've got for my notes. What would you give this? What would you rank this episode?
Whoa, you're asking me first? I'm.
Oh wait, actually.
I mean, I normally ask you first, but no, like, it's fine. I just, in 131 episodes, you've never asked me first, and I'm just feeling, I think that's a little too freestyle for me. I think we need to, we need to return to format. Pete, 0 to 10, what do you think?
I give it a 6. Not the most stimulating episode as far as like you said, there wasn't a lot of burning questions from it, but from a personal level, it wasn't overtly disturbing, and so it was still fascinating. And the fact that it didn't gross me out, I'd say it's a strong 6. It's not like, wow, this is bad, I'm going to give it lower than 7, 8, 9, 10.
Interesting.
It was a interesting watch, but a 6.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
You might be surprised.
I think. Can I guess? I think it'll be below 5.
Okay, you are correct. So the only other Black Mirror episode that I've given a rating below 5, I believe, the only other one I've given below 5 was the first one, was National Anthem, which I gave a 4. It was either a 4 or a 4 point something. For some reason, I think 4.2, but I could also just be pulling that out of my ass. I don't really know.
Sure.
I give this just a flat, no decimal point, just a flat 2 out of 10. This episode does almost nothing for me. Almost nothing.
Cool.
So, yeah, which I mean, I can't even really expand on. I don't think the episode is worth me expanding on my score. Like, I just don't like it.
Sure, that's fair.
I just don't like it.
Cool.
So, wrap it up, man.
Cool. Like, follow, subscribe on our social media pages below. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's where we send out our new information. It's where you can influence our show by voting on what film we should review. Thank you for listening. And until our next episode, which in this case will be within
tomorrow.
Like a day. One day. So
chances are by the time you're listening to this, because not everyone like hops on it right away. So chances are by the time you're listening to this, the next one's already out.
Right. Yeah.
Or true. Like 10 or like 15. Who knows?
Who knows?
But but we thank you for listening all the same.
We do.
So until next time, bye-bye.